The man could absorb the abilities awakened by a zombie upon contact. He attempted to absorb a level 1 zombie lord, but the system warned that the lord's level was too high and he needed to absorb for a full minute. No matter how hard Duan Fei tried, he couldn't reach the lord. Then, the lord activated its skill, Blood Shadow Migration, and launched a surprise attack on the awakened ones behind it. Any awakened one entangled by the bloodthirsty bats had their blood completely drained, then converted into energy and fed back to the lord, similar to Duan Fei's ability to absorb zombies. Seeing this exaggerated rate of improvement, Duan Fei panicked. If this continued, all his previous efforts would be wasted, so he had to stop. However, Duan Fei's mental state was extremely poor. Only his physical strength was at its peak, and he only had a fleeting moment to recover. Splittered open, thousands of bloodthirsty bats were searching for the lord's weakness. With a single strike, he might be able to turn the tide of the battle. Duan Fei arrived above the zombie horde lord. His devouring ability attached itself to his sword, and wherever it passed, the bats miraculously evaporated. With a deafening roar, the intense devouring energy vaporized all the bats. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, hundreds of bats appeared on the zombie horde lord's right hand. He seemed to be resisting. At his command, Duan Fei's sword was pressed down as heavy as a mountain. But Duan Fei suddenly vanished from the lord's front. When he reappeared, he had already circled behind the zombie horde lord, only to have his sword shatter again by the obstructing wings. Duan Fei had always harbored a concern, whether it was fear of death or fear of the deaths of those in the shelter. Dozens of clashes made Duan Fei feel utterly useless. If he couldn't even handle a level 1 opponent, how could he possibly rescue his sister? What was the purification book doing inside my body? The resolve I had when I forgot death for the sake of the new moon, I must abandon thought but not recklessness. At this moment, a dazzling golden light suddenly surged from the evolution tree within Duan Fei's body. Duan Fei and the corpse nest lord interlocked their fingers. The lord's eyes widened for a moment, then Duan Fei pulled him into the air, spun him 360 degrees, and slammed him to the ground. At this moment, a blue light flashed in Duan Fei's eyes, and the purification tendrils at the corners of his eyes were particularly conspicuous. Just as the lord swung its wing-slicing blade, Duan Fei instantly grabbed both ends of the tree, then tightly pulled up the corpse nest lord's wings, pressed his foot against the lord's head, and amidst the female zombie's hysterical screams, the out-of-control Duan Fei violently ripped off the lord's obstructing wings. The reason Duan Fei suddenly possessed such power was because the roots of the evolution tree permeated every corner of his body, continuously evolving. At this moment, Duan Fei's consciousness suddenly arrived at the evolution tree. The newly opened space revealed that the evolution tree had grown to 100 meters tall. Could it be due to his devouring ability? After all, each zombie he devoured provided him with nourishment. Suddenly, an energy entity floated out from the tree trunk. "Are you the consciousness of the purification spell?" The little figure stammered. "Purification, purification. You can't fall, you must keep evolving." Duan Fei desperately wanted to know why his consciousness had come to this space, but the next instant, countless roots rushed towards him. The scheme instantly bound his consciousness. Meanwhile, in reality, the zombie lord, its wings torn off, was now enraged. "I'll tear you to pieces." Duan Fei was no longer the same person. Under the World Tree's control, he overpowered the zombie lord, forcing it to retreat. As for speed, the lord's eyes couldn't keep up. With a bang, Duan Fei punched the zombie lord in the face. But the next instant, 5 sharp claws pierced through Duan Fei's body. Everyone watched with bated breath, but only Duan Fei sensed a different aura. Duan Fei's right hand trembled slightly, but surprisingly, he instinctively used his telekinesis to lock onto a long sword. Following some indication, the sword appeared in his hand, and a flash of light severed the claws released by the lord. Duan Fei then pulled out the claws, piercing his body one by one, like a fighting machine, fearless and unaffected by pain. Just when the lord thought Duan Fei was struggling in his death throes, he witnessed an even more shocking scene. Duan Fei's wounds were actually healing themselves. The system notification indicated that it was consuming the green energy stored from his devouring ability to heal himself. Next, Duan Fei's attacks became even more ferocious. Because the Lord could no longer sense any human presence in him, the thought of escape filled the Lord's mind. Just as he spat out venom, a throwing knife from afar flew straight towards his forehead. With a loud thud, although it didn't pierce his skull, Duan Fei pinned the Lord to the wall. The Lord gritted his teeth, enduring the excruciating pain before unleashing the full version of his attack, only to be slammed into the wall by Duan Fei's punch. Was he about to fall into the hands of a human? Suddenly, Duan Fei stretched out his left hand, and Xiaku was drawn to release his psychic power. His teammates thought Xiaku had timed it perfectly, but only Xiaku knew he was being guided by an unseen force. Suddenly, Duan Fei's pet, Jinbao, bared its teeth at him. Jinbao, you noticed something's wrong with Duan Fei too, didn't you? His aura feels very unfamiliar. Duan Fei, what's wrong with you? After obtaining the common item, Duan Fei's first action was to fix his longsword firmly on the Lord's left hand, leaving him no room to resist. Then, he used his right hand to press down on the Lord's noisy mouth, devouring the supernatural ado.